Your first contact with potential attorneys who may wish to hire you will come from them. Sometimes, the attorney may call you on the phone to check on your availability, interest, and relevant qualifications. The attorney may have gotten your name from a colleague, or simply looked you up on the internet and found you listed on your own website, or on an internet-based registry of expert witnesses. Sometimes the preliminary phone call will come from the client, doing a little research on his own. When someone does call you to ask about your availability, interests, and skills for a case, you should take out a notepad right away, write down the date, and ask the attorney or client for their complete name and its proper spelling. Ask them for their phone number in case you become disconnected and you have to call them back. Take notes about the case while you chat with them, but do not take extensive or compromising notes. For example, an indiscreet attorney might say, "My client's guilty, but I want to get him the best possible deal." When you hear remarks like that, do not write them down. If the attorney eventually hires you, your notes and that indiscreet remark that you may have just documented will become evidence that you may have to turn over. Guilt or innocence remains the jurisdiction of a judge and/or a jury. Your first page of notes will become the first entry in a file folder in which you should keep your notes and records for this case. Sometimes you receive voluminous materials to review over the course of the case, and storing the materials may require many boxes. They still constitute what you might call the file folder. If you do have to organize voluminous records or files, then just label the boxes or the piles appropriately for the case. Put your attorney's name and phone number and case identifier on the principal file folder that you will keep for the case, either on the outside or on the tab. You will save time looking for the attorney's phone number every time you have to call them. Of course, if you have frequent phone conversations, you should just put their number into your cell phone. When the case completes, or you withdraw from the case, you should write some final notes about how the case ended. If it ended in your withdrawal, you should notate your reasons for the withdrawal. At the end stage, regardless of how it ends, your attorney may ask you to return some or all of the materials that you reviewed. The attorney alternatively may ask you to destroy the materials. Add a note to your file folder about the disposition of the evidence. After you have been an expert witness, you'll begin to recognize discreet as well as ridiculously indiscreet behavior on the parts of the various players. You may receive email from attorneys who should know better that contain information about their clients. Attorneys that do so often send such email to experts and other participants in the case. That may be unwise on their part, but honesty and ethics require you to keep records of email communications you have received regarding the case. This includes communications that you think the client or attorney should never have sent to you. Throwing such communications away or erasing them constitutes destruction of evidence. Do not even consider that. Initial contact with attorneys can happen through email or fax or phone. The person who contacts you in those ways will provide simplistic information about a possible case, then ask you if you are interested, available, and have relevant credentials. They may also ask if you have experience with cases like this. Sometimes they will also ask you to give them references. Sending an email or a fax is impersonal for a first contact. but it does save an attorney time. If they are contacting you, they are probably contacting other potential experts as well. The first times that attorneys contacted me in those impersonal ways, I guardedly answered their emails and suggested that they call me to discuss the possible case further. When some of them did not call me, I realized that I was only one of several that they had probably contacted. Subsequently, I would say that I would call them to discuss the case further, and then did so within 24 hours. At other times, a paralegal or an investigator may call you. It is simplest to just ask if the caller is an attorney or has another position in the case. If the attorney eventually does hire you to help with the case, your records should reflect the date on which you were first contacted and by whom.